So, a very good morning to everybody. Welcome to the session. I hope all of you can see and hear me clearly. Things should be fine, I think, should not be much of a problem. Uh, and all of us know by now that in this particular session, what we focus on is how do we improve our interpretation skills, how do we improve our RC skills in short. Right? And every day we take up different articles from different genres, we take up different articles from different sources, we try our hand at solving different types of questions, right? And in the last 10-15 days, if you notice, I have started giving a lot more focus on the ability to answer questions rather than simply vocabulary. Vocabulary I know is important, right? But also probably more important than vocabulary is your ability to answer questions properly, right? So for that, there are three things which I would like to remind everybody about right at the beginning. Number one is, when you read the passage, you should read keeping in mind the structure. In short, you should know, acha, the passage is like this, I should have it like a map, right? Okay, beginning point was like this, then he goes ahead like this, in the end he does this. In short, you should have something like a flow chart of the passage in your mind. Number one. And number two, when you answer questions, you have to keep two things in mind. Right, the two things are, first of all, when you answer, try to eliminate options which are even 1% wrong, because even if something is 1% wrong, it cannot be the answer. And second thing is, even if I forget what the data is taken from, where is the data taken from, I have the I have the liberty of referring to the relevant part. Right. So these three things are something which I do every day. Right. All of you know about it by now. So today we will take up a passage, right, as usual. And before that, before I take up any passage, can you quickly take a look at the schedule, the YouTube schedule, weekly schedule? You can see, right, every day it is lined up with a lot of useful lectures, right, things which will definitely help you in your preparation for the MBA entrance exams, right? So, very good morning to all. I hope all of you can see and hear me clearly. Today, this is the passage. The passage which I have taken today is taken from a source called the EPW, right? I don't know how many of you are familiar with this. Are you familiar with this magazine called the Economic and Political Weekly? It's an Indian magazine, right? But then इसमें जो articles है, they contain a lot of arguments, right? And this is not the exact article, it has been edited and it was asked in XAT also, right? The actual source is EPW and the question is from XAT. So very good morning to all of you. I hope everybody will be able to understand. This is the first slide. The article will be slightly, not very long, 4 paragraphs like this, 4 slides. Let's see, as I was telling you, actual source is EPW and it is edited and it was asked in XAT, right? So, let's see. Okay, can everybody quickly confirm the audio? Is the audio fine? Is the audio fine, everybody? Okay, is the audio fine? Everybody quickly confirm? If not, I will have to just, sort it out. Can everybody confirm, is the voice, is the audio fine? Okay. All right. So, okay, let's see. Now you can hear me clearly. As I was telling you, this article is taken from essentially a magazine called EPW. It was edited and it was asked as an RC passage in XAT. So let's see. Start reading it, right? And there are some words which I've highlighted. those words may be new, may not be new. Important thing is we should understand the entire context, right? So what does he say in the first passage? Let's see. Here he is introducing the concept of special economic zones, right? What is the meaning of the word demarcate? Demarcate basically is to mark, to keep a certain area aside, right? So to keep aside, in to mark it out. Demarcation is basically dividing into proportions. ठीक है, so dividing into portions, right? So like certain areas are marked out as special economic zones, and it is to promote investment and growth, right? And he tells you that it is quite normal, it is quite feasible for a large country, if you cannot provide the right kind of facilities that can attract investment everywhere, it is completely normal to carve up some of its areas where it is providable, ठीक है, right? And laws are waived basically means they are, you know uh, they are not strictly enforced, maaf kiya jata hai. So waived, basically what is waived? Your fees have been waived, matlab you are not supposed to go according to the norms, the norms have been relaxed, ठीक है, right? And here in this paragraph, what is he telling you? He's telling us about nothing else but the conditions and the objectives of special economic zones, right? So there are certain areas where they are, required, and in fact he also gives you an example. China's experience shows that if chalked out and implemented with care, such a policy can accelerate the flow of capital and technology from abroad, and thereby speed up growth. Okay, everybody's read it so far, I think, right? So what is it telling you here? Special economic zones. In some cases, it's not a new idea. Large countries who cannot afford to have, have everywhere, they cannot provide the right environment. So they provide the right environment for business in small areas where laws are relaxed, right? And there is a one window interaction with the government. Tax benefits are provided, right? And China has seen a lot of success in this. China's experience has shown that if it is done properly, it can accelerate the flow of capital and technology, and thereby speed up growth. Everybody is understandable, I hope. ठीक है, Krishnakant, waiving is not just tax. Waiving is relaxation. So here, what is relaxed are the laws and procedures, including tax. ठीक है, so waiving is relaxing. ठीक है, everybody has read the passage, I hope. Everybody has read this slide. Shall we look at the next slide? Everybody has read it, I hope. Okay, changing the slide. The next slide is this. Now, first paragraph, he was telling us about special economic zones can be very successful if they are tried out properly. If done in the right circumstance, they can be, they can be quite, they can be quite helpful, right? Pinky, feasible means something which is practical, right? It is logical to follow it. So if I say it's not feasible, matlab it is not, it is, so if something is feasible, it will give you, it is practical, it has more positives than negatives, that is feasible. Okay, all clear, I hope. Now, okay, let's see. The next slide is this, right? So what do you find here? SEZs may not be the best option in all situations to clear the bottlenecks in growth. What are bottlenecks? Bottlenecks are, problem areas. In short, bottlenecks are nothing else but problem areas. This is where the author starts giving you his opinion. His opinion is that SEZs can be very good, right? Sometimes they are required, like in the case of China, it can lead to a lot of growth. But what does he say? They may not be the best option in all situations to clear the bottlenecks in growth. Bottlenecks basically means the hurdles, right? The hurdles, the areas, the problem areas. महिमा SEZs are special economic zones. अभी already वहाँ beginning में mention तो है ना. He is already tell you this is SEZs are the special economic zones. Okay. So next time he uses it, he is use it in a he is using the short form, right? So special economic zones, right? SEZs are special economic zones. What are they? They are areas where laws are relaxed, right? Conditions are made conducive so that business can grow, where investment will be, tax would be provided relief, right? The laws will not be followed. I mean, that way, laws will not be followed in the sense that it will be done to, you know, to promote growth, to promote investment. These are special economic zones. Okay, right. So next, what is giving you is nothing else but examples of how SEZs may not be the best situation, may not be the best. For example, India's experience with export processing zones bears this out. Bears this out basically means proves this, right? So, bear something out, meaning to prove something correct. It's a phrasal verb. Right. So in India, he is telling you the export processing zones, they have failed in India. Right. Why? Because China, may what was there in China, it was not present here. Right. In India, right, as we thought that it would be a good way of escape route from the stranglehold. Stranglehold, basically, what is strangling is gala dabana aise. So stranglehold means tight control. So something from which you cannot get away. That is stranglehold. ठीक है stranglehold of control that prevailed over the Indian economy. So this was an experiment, this export processing zone, it was done, right, to release the control or to let go of the control over the Indian economy, right? So there were some export processing zones which were put up, right? But even while promising to ease the rigors matlab difficulties. Right. Even while promising to ease the rigors of controls, Indian policymakers could not give up their pension. Pension basically pension. You can. In American English it is pension. In European English you pronounce it pension. Right. So whatever it is, pension is basically inclination. Right. Everybody is reading it, I hope. So the need was to let go of control, but the policymakers of India could not give up their liking for control. Micromanaging is basically like getting into everything. हर चीज में दखल देना. That is micromanaging. ठीक है? So the policymakers could not give up their pension for micromanaging from the center and undoing the promised relaxation with all kinds of qualifications and guidelines, right? So relaxation जो provide करना था वो किया नहीं. That is why the export processing zones in India were not that successful. Everybody has read it, I hope. Everybody's read it, I hope. All clear. Shall we change the slide? Nobody is commenting. I hope it is all clear. Chalo, next slide is this. Siddharth, good morning. You are quite late. We are almost halfway through. Right, everybody is reading it, I hope. Right, what does he say in in this paragraph? If you're reading it, once you have read it, we will discuss it. Let's see. Right. So what is he telling you here? He's telling you about the failure in India. In China, it succeeded. So this is where he's telling you in India, this concept of special economic zones, right? How is it not, and why is it not working out? Okay, all clear, I hope. So, over the last 2 decades, India has evolved into a market economy and control has disappeared, but the flow of FDIs has not increased, has not reached anywhere near the levels of China. Why? So, he's telling you the problems. Infrastructure has fallen short. Even after 3 years of the enactment of the Electricity Act, he's given you an example. Investment in electricity is still a trickle. Trickle means it is very little. Okay, like almost like drop by drop. This is why, because of the states refusing to give up the monopoly, right, in the purchase of the power generated, while swearing by growth. This line is very important. While swearing by growth, so governments at the center and the state, right, they keep on saying we want growth, but then they always take the help of, they always quote these laws to help to say that we are helpless. In short, they are not willing to take up any action. So this is what he means by this line. Everybody has read it, I hope. Everybody's read it, I hope. So in this slide, he's telling you about the problems, many of the problems in India, right, which prevents, a foreign direct investment, right, which prevents the advantages of having, investments. It's mostly because of, government control. While in the center and the state both, keep on saying we want growth, but still they keep on saying that they are helpless when it comes to certain, you know certain investments to improve infrastructure. Everybody's read it, I hope. No response from anybody so far. I hope everything is clear. What do you mean by cite? CIT. Cite means give as an example, to quote, right? To give an example or to quote. Okay, let's see what is the next. Okay, so my in a way, yes, he is criticizing the government. Okay, let's see. This is the last slide. Right. So because of the grim situation, he's telling you what is the way out that is thought of. Right. So everybody is now thinking of SEZs. So problem FDIs, there is a lot of, there's not much of investment in terms of FDI. So everybody is thinking that SEZs would be the solution to the problem. Right. And he's saying in its enthusiasm for SEZs, the Commerce Ministry forgot two critical lessons of the Chinese experience. क्या lessons है? SEZs should be large enough to provide opportunities for large scale operations and the number should be few. That means we should not keep on opening up small SEZs everywhere. Right. You should have, big enough SEZs and the number should not be quite high. Right. Then he's telling us here how nowadays every industry or economic activity words its name is now. So everybody is thinking of SEZs as a solution to the problem. Right. Last line, the last passage, if you notice, what does he do here? He is telling you there are proposals to invite foreign educational institutions to come up to India with promises of SEZ treatment. Notice the use of this exclamatory mark. Why is he saying this? Right. He is using this exclamatory mark to point out something that is shocking, right? Because of the problems that we see, right? The problems that we see in the Indian economy, right? All of us are thinking that SEZs would be the solution to the problem. So there are SEZs proposed everywhere, even in educational institutions, and he finds it shocking. That is why he has used an exclamatory mark. Everybody is clear, I think, right? And in fact, The finance ministry apprehends a loss of, apprehends means fear about, to have a fear about the future, right? So the finance ministry apprehends a loss of nearly so much crores in direct taxes over the next 5 years. This is because SEZs are coming up everywhere. Everybody is thinking that SEZs is the solution to the problem. Okay, right? Everybody got the point? Everybody is read it, I hope. Shall we look at the questions? As I was telling you, this question, this article is taken from the Economic and Political Weekly from the EPW, and it was asked in ZAT, right, as an RC passage. Okay, everybody has read it, I hope. Now the challenge will come in answering the questions, right? I hope everybody understood more of, more of, if you notice, things are like more or less clear, right? There's nothing, very difficult here. Okay, shall we look at the answers? This is the first question. The objective of the author. So why is the author writing this? 5 options. Let's give you the options. Let's give you the answers and see. Everybody is reading it, I hope. What should be the answer? Eliminate options which are wrong. Okay, what's the answer? A. Bhaskar is saying answer is A. Okay. Is there a better option? Highlight the failure of Indian policymakers regarding EPZs. The problem that I find in A is he talking about only EPZs, or was EPZ given as an example of the whole problem? Right. How does he begin? Right. He begins by telling us that SEZs are okay. If they are done properly, it can be a lot of help. Then he tells you there were trials which were carried out in India which did not work out. In the end, he says everybody is thinking that SEZs would be the solution to the entire problem. But then it is not. He seems to be scoffing at the idea that SEZs seem to be the solution to the entire problem. So I have eliminated A because of this. It is just one part of the passage, right? So okay, compare between Indian EPZs and Chinese SEZs. Indian EPZs, nahi, he is talking about Indian SEZs also. EPZs are only an example of failure. So C also cannot be the answer. Best answer is this: oppose the proliferation of SEZs in India. Look at the last part. Where does he tell you this? Right. He tells you the whole situation. Then he says that SEZs have been thought of as a simple way out. Right. Everybody is now calling for SEZs. So there are SEZs which are proposed even for education. So he is basically against that. He says that SEZs are okay if they are properly maintained and if they are properly carried out, right? But then in India, the reverse seems to be happening. So the best answer is E. I think only 2 people got the answer correct. Okay, right. Dekho, the Krishna Kant and everybody, some are saying B. Narrate the pros and cons. Pros and cons, matlab negatives and positives of SEZs. It is not about the negatives and positives of SEZs, right? He is telling you how, if they are done properly, they can be successful, right? But if the policies are not proper, they can fail, right? So that way, it is not about the merits and demerits of SEZs themselves. Okay, so the best answer is D. Proliferation is spreading. Yes, Mahima, his entire purpose is to write, okay. His entire purpose is to propose, is to oppose it. तभी तो वो कह रहा. How does he say? Start. Look at the beginning and the ending. How does he say? What does he say in the beginning? In the beginning, he says SEZs are okay. ठीक है? In certain conditions. In China, it worked. In India, it did not work out. Okay. Then in the end, he says in India, everybody is thinking of SEZs as a solution, right? So he is speaking about how in India proliferation, matlab unnecessary spreading is to be avoided. Okay. So the best answer is D. Everybody got the point, I hope. समझ में आया सबको, right? So eliminate करके भी मिलता है, right? And India should argue, India should imitate the Chinese policy. Should imitate is a very strong word for it. So best answer is D. Everybody got it, I hope. Right. So especially beginning and the way he ends, it tells you the objective. He tells you, begins by telling you SEZs are okay. Right. In certain circumstances they work. In India they are not working. Everybody thinks of them as a solution. That means he's saying जबरदस्ती इंडिया में बहुत ज्यादा स्प्रेड नहीं करना चाहिए. They should work only if they are done in small numbers and large enough size. Everybody got it, I hope. ठीक है. Right. Next question. The author suggests the following conclusions except. So what is wrong is the answer. Okay, what is wrong is the answer. Let's see. Right. Here, let me tell you, Government of India must limit the number of SEZs. This is true. I'll help you because last paragraph it tells you nowadays everybody is thinking of SEZs. Education में भी SEZs आ गया, and even SEZs cause loss of tax revenue for the central government. He is telling you the finance minister is estimating that so much loss will be there, right? So D and E are suggested. Okay. Now look at A, B, and C and tell me what is the answer. I have helped. I have eliminated three options. Okay. Not three, sorry. I have eliminated two options so that it becomes easier. Yet these two options we saw it or we read it in the last paragraph, right? In fact, इंडिया में बहुत हो रहा है SEZs हर जगह, इवन एजुकेशन में भी, and he wants to oppose it. Okay. Bhaskar, A may be the best option for countries unable to provide infrastructure and business environment to attract for. ये भी ओके. भास्कर एंड रश्मि ए लग रहा है, यश शर्मा को सी लग रहा है. अच्छा एक बार बताओ, ए जो है he mentions A directly in the first paragraph. Where? I'll tell you first paragraph now, where he tells you this: the idea of demarcating certain areas within the country as as to promote is not new, right? So he's telling you that demarcation. Yeah, look at this part. He tells you that to if a country is not able to provide the right facilities and environment to attract FDI, it can set out certain areas as exceptions and use it. So A is also not the answer. Okay. So what is left now? What is left now is B and C. B, okay, this I am helping you arrive at the answer by elimination. B can also be eliminated. SEZs must be large enough to house large scale operations. This यहाँ देखो, he tells you that an SEZ must be of adequate size to provide opportunities for reaping the benefits. Right. So SEZs must be large enough. So I have eliminated B also. The only thing left is C. Now you will have to be very careful. C seems to be given here. I'll tell you why. I'll give you an example here. Right. Look at this. Look at this line. Here he will tell you that this laws. Look at this again. It is stated but in a sarcastic manner. Everybody speaks about growth, but the center and the states both, they quote these laws and say that we cannot do anything. So they are used as an excuse. They are used as an excuse to used as an excuse by the center as well as the by the states, right? To say that we cannot do anything, it is used as an excuse for not acting. So that basically means the problem with this option is fiscal responsibility laws, do they actually limit or is it used as an excuse? It is used as an excuse, they do not actually limit. ठीक है, right? So it's like an excuse. Traffic जैसा, traffic, does it actually stop you from coming on time? शायद नहीं, लेकिन everybody uses it as an excuse. ठीक है? So the best answer is C. Everybody understood this, I hope. So this question is detail based, but then the details need to be understood. ठीक है, everybody is clear, I hope. All clear? Okay. Two more questions to go. I'll show you the next one. The author does not oppose. So the author does not oppose. What is he not against? This is easy, I think. This can be done by elimination. Right. देखो, I'll help you. SCZ's treatment of foreign educational institutions in India. In the end, remember he mentions it with even a exclamatory mark. He mentions it almost like shocked that आजकल हर जगह nowadays SCZs are taken are thought of as a solution to everything. In fact, people are even thinking of educational SCZs. Okay, monopoly. Okay, Amit Kumar, monopoly of state electricity boards and power purchase. Author oppose करता है. He tells you that ये होना नहीं चाहिए. He tells you here. I'll just tell you whether the author. You know, look at this. Private investment is still a problem with states refusing to give up the monopoly, right? So states monopoly they are not willing to give up monopoly. Because of this there is no proper investment in the power sector, so he's eliminating. D also I've eliminated. A and E. Acha, lack of government initiative in infrastructure development. He also tells you, he also opposes this. Question is does not oppose, not oppose. ठीक है, he opposes it. He says initiative infrastructure development में इंडिया में हुआ ही नहीं, right? He tells you this if you notice. देखो here, last line of this passage, while swearing by growth, right? The both the center and the state, they plead their helplessness in making the required investments to improve infrastructure. That means they do not provide infrastructure. ठीक है, so ये भी है. Now only two things are left. Best answer is C. Best answer is C. I think only one person got it correct, right? एक मिनट देखो अंकित, क्वेश्चन क्या पूछा जा रहा है? स्टेट्स डिनाई, देखो स्टेट्स क्या डिनाई कर रहे हैं? मोनोपोली, मोनोपोली को गिव अप करने को तैयार नहीं है. तो ऑथर के हिसाब से इनको मोनोपोली नहीं रखना चाहिए. क्वेश्चन पूछा, क्या पूछा जा रहा है? द स्टेट डज नॉट अपोज, द ऑथर डज नॉट अपोज मोनोपोली, ही अपोजेस, ही सेइंग मोनोपोली की वजह से इन्वेस्टमेंट्स नहीं हो रहा है, राइट? दैट मींस मोनोपोली खराब है, सो ही अपोजेस दिस मोनोपोली. समझ में आ रहा है अंकित? समझ में आ रहा है? डिड यू अंडरस्टैंड दिस? Right. So the states are clinging on to the monopoly because of which investments नहीं आ रहा है. That means the author is saying इनको monopoly छोड़ देना चाहिए. So he opposes monopoly. Understood? I hope. Right. Tax benefits to strategically promote SEZs. Right. So this is where he is telling you. First paragraph में देखो, first part में देखो. देखो, look at this part. In addition, huge tax benefits are promised to lure investors. China's experience shows that if chalked out and implemented with care, such a policy can accelerate the flow of capital. Look at this part. He's telling you, look at this line, right? He's telling you that if it is done properly, tax relief, tax benefits for a strategic reason can work if it is done properly, like it is done in China. So this is basically the best answer. ठीक है, सो द बेस्ट आंसर इज सी, राइट? नाउ बी एंड सी में बेटर सी है. क्वालिफायर्स अनडूइंग रिलैक्सेशन ऑफ गवर्नमेंट कंट्रोल. देखो, इनफैक्ट गवर्नमेंट कंट्रोल जो है इज समथिंग व्हिच इज इट शुड बी इट शुड बी रिलैक्स, राइट? सो गवर्नमेंट कंट्रोल तो होना नहीं चाहिए. सो ही द ऑथर ओपोजेस गवर्नमेंट कंट्रोल. सो सी इज द बेस्ट आंसर. एवरीबॉडी अंडरस्टूड? आई होप, राइट? ओके. Last slide. This is a typical, detailed question. The passage was most likely written in the year. इसका information कहाँ से मिलेगा? I'll just tell you. I mean, एक line है. Based on that, we will see. Right. First, try to answer this question on the basis of whatever you have read. Right. Then we will move on to the answer. I'll show you the part where it's actually taken from. But there is 100% proof of the passage and how it was when it was written. So most likely it was written in which year? Okay, so Rashmi is the first to answer. 2006 लग रहा है रश्मि को. How do you know? 2003 में 2006 में लिखा होगा. यश शर्मा, हिमांशु also thinks answer is D. Okay, 2003 या 6 कैसे पता? How do we know? Is there any information in the passage? So people are saying A. How do we know? Is there information? The information is given clearly here. I'll show you the part where it is given clearly. Look at this. Even after 3 years of the enactment of the Electricity Act. So 3 years after 2003. 3 years after 2003 तो क्या होगा? So this is basically the most likely thing, right? So after 2003 कितने साल? 3 years. So the Electricity Act was enacted in 2003 and 3 years after that, it basically means it is most likely to be 100% confirmed तो नहीं है, but most likely to be. So 3 years after 2003, right? So this is the key. ठीक है? So everybody is clear about it, I hope. Okay. So with that, we come to the end of the passage, end of the slide, end of the discussion. I hope all of you understood. Idea is very simple, right? Every day we will pick up passages like this, and if you do it every day, by the time you reach the exam, things will become a lot easier, right? And before we end for the day, let me show you some information that you probably already know about, but it will help if if it is new, it is definitely helpful. All the lectures which are connected to your preparation for CAT and all these exams, they are available in one place, right? So you can actually access it anytime, right? And join us for the live analysis on the 16th or on the YouTube channel, right? It is there from the 16th to the 18th, and the timings are 12 to 5. The live analysis of the Maharashtra CET exam is definitely going to help you understand, right? So how the nitty-gritties of the exam would be discussed there, so you can take it up. And these are some exams, some courses which you think which are definitely of use to you, right? And these are the teachers who take your classes. And all of you know that the classroom program of BYJU'S Exam Prep is actually divided into two crack, one targeting 2021 and one targeting 2022, with, of course, different people preferring different time frames based on their own experience and on own knowledge, right? So with that, we come to the end of the session. I will meet you again tomorrow with another article. We will continue this exercise and we will keep on improving our RC skills. So thank you everybody. Have a nice day.